I'm going to discuss about the subject Network and Cyber Security, presenting by Manjunath Iyer, Assistant Professor, ECE Department, Canara Engineering College from Mangalore. In this session, I'll be discussing about HTTPS. Its abbreviation is Hypertext Transport Protocol along with SSL or TLS technique, and a secure shell technique, that is in short form we can say it is SSH. And the summary of the module 1, the topics which we have discussed under module 1. Okay, so I'm going to summarize it. So now I'm going to discuss about the last topic of module 1, transport layer security. It's about HTTPS, Hypertext Transport Protocol security. Okay, so here, as we know, HTTP means Hypertext Transfer Protocol. Okay, so S is additional, so which indicates that secure socket layer. So it is nothing but HTTPS plus a secure socket layer. It's a hybrid version of HTTP and SSL or TLS. Okay, so in order to provide the more security for the data, so we are using HTTPS. Now, Hypertext Transfer Protocol Secure, that is HTTPS, is a combination of the Hypertext Transfer Protocol, that is HTTP, with the Secure Socket Layer SSL or Transport Layer Security TLS. Okay, so SSL or TLS both are same. Okay, so almost both are same. They are differ in the versions they are using. Okay, there is a slight change in SSL and TLS. So anyways, okay, as we come to know that HTTPS, it's a hybrid technique of HTTP plus SSL or TLS. Connection initiation, okay, it's a TLS, it uses the TLS handshake, then HTTP request. So in under TLS handshake protocol, we have already learned so how the okay, client and server, they communicate each other and they'll authenticate each other by sharing the information between client and server. Connection closer, have connection close in HTTP record. So once after, okay, HTTP the communication is happened, so it has to be closed, or any such unauthorized person is trying to access, it has to be closed. TLS level exchange close notify alert. So from HTTP, okay, so we can, like, hey, we are able to close the record, and TLS also, okay, it gives the notification for the close alert. Can then close the TCP connection, must handle TCP close before alert exchange sent or completed. So TCP is nothing but transport control protocol. So finally, okay, so we are using HTTP. Okay, it's like for any document, if you want to, okay, disclose in a worldwide, so we are disclosing with the HTTPs. Okay, so if you want to disclose any document, so we can expose through the HTTPS. Okay, so this is all the brief introduction about the HTTPS. So next we are moving on to the different technique, that is a SSH. We learned in the previous classes what is SSL, TLS and HTTPS. So now it's a new technique that we can adopt for the security is secure shell. Okay, in short form we can say it is SSH. So it's a brief introduction about the SSH protocol for secure network communications. It is designed to be simple and inexpensive. SSH1 and SSH2 are two different the versions that we can use under SSH. About SSH1 provides a secure remote logon facility. It replaces the telephone network, telnet and other insecure schemes. Okay, so previously we were using a telnet and the telnet was not so secure. So by SSH we can replace it. Also has more general client and server capability. So it improves the capability of communication between the client and server. So between the client and server, the understanding and authentication is very important. Okay, so that the handshake protocol is very important, and exchanging of several private information between the client and server is very important. So that we have learned through by learning handshake protocol. So under SSH2 is improved version of SSH1. It fixes a number of security flaws. So under SSH1 have some security flaws, and it is going to fix some drawbacks of SSH1 documented in RFC as 4250 through 4250. So RFC 4250, it's a kind of protocol, and we have several protocols. The protocols is nothing but it's a routine or the rules is set. Like whenever we are sending a data, so some rules need to be followed. So for a more secure we are following some RFC 4250. It's a set of rules. So for each rules we are giving some standard notification. So here, so SSH will come under the standard notification of RFCS 4250. It follows the some set of rules under RFC 4250 through 4254. So let's say for example, if you want to get into the campus, we need to follow some rules. Like so we have to wear our ID card, and we have to wear our uniform for first year and the second year. So in our college campus. So for third year and fourth year, so there is no such rules to wear the uniform. So we have set some rules for wearing our dress. So like that. So for internet data exchange also, we are going to set kind of rules. For each rules we are giving some notification. So SSH, it follows the RFCS 4250 or 4254. So next, SSH clients under servers are widely available. So this SSH is widely available. Method of choice for remote login or externals. So these are all the points which comes under a secure shell. Brief introduction. So now about the implementation of SSH. So SSH is also implemented above TCP and IP as similar to the TLSR secure socket layer SSL. So TLS or SSL are implemented above TCP and IP and below HTTPS. So after we have observed the SSH structure here, so where we are implementing SSH, so it is above TCP and IP SSH transport layer protocol. So protocols, we know that it provides some set of rules, provides server authentication. So need to authenticate the server with the clients. So because you need to understand the server and the client, so the client is going to communicate with which server, or which server is going to communicate with the client. Confidentiality and integrity. Okay, confidentiality is nothing but okay, so we should not disclose our data to unauthorized person. And integrity is nothing but, so though we are providing security for the data that we are transferring over a network, sometimes it is possible to open that data for a professional hackers. So during that time, so if data is exposed to the professional hackers, when the data is exposed to the professional hackers, it has to be intimated to the sender and receiver, so that they will close the communication path and they will establish the new communication path without any disrupt. It may optionally also provide the compression. Okay, so compression is a very simple technique. So when the data size of when the size of the data that we are transferring is too much, so we need to reduce the size. So all the SSH transport layer protocol, it provides almost all the services which is provided by the SSL or TLS. So now SSH user authentication protocol. Authentication authenticates the client side user to the server. So authentication is done by DSS, digital signature standard. Okay, digital signature standard. So we need to understand, the client have to understand the server with which server the client is going to communicate, or the server again have to understand it is communicating with the so what type of the client. So his details are very required to share, so both they have to understand. So if a genuine user or a genuine client is communicating, so they are ready to share their details. So if it is not genuine users, that is nothing but professional hackers, they are not ready to share their details. So they are not ready to understand the server. So that time the server will understand. So it is communicating with some the client, so is not authorized person. So next, SSH connection protocol multiplexes more than one data can be shared at a time. Multiplexes the encrypted tunnel into the several logical channels. Okay, so we are performing encryption, either it is a symmetric encryption or asymmetric encryption, and we are providing several logical channels to transfer the data of ciphertext, because we are already know that. So after encryption, the plain text will be converted to the ciphertext. The ciphertext need to be released via network. While we are releasing, so we are just exploring that ciphertext over several logical channels. This is all about the SSH. This is all about the SSH, secure shell network, or a secure shell. Okay, so that is implemented above TCP and IP. So as we move on to the next topic, SSH transport layer protocol. Secure shell transport layer protocol. Server authentication occurs. So authentication is nothing but okay, so it has to authenticate like okay, to which user or a client, so it is giving a service. Okay, so for example, if I am helping someone else, I should know about, okay, to whom I am going to help. So I know the details about the person who is getting a benefit of my help. Okay, occurs at transport layer. For SSH authentication, so it is going to perform under transport layer based on server or host key pairs. Okay, server authentication requires clients to know host keys in advance. Okay, so we already know that each client is having pair of keys, private key and public key, and the private key should, okay, keep so confidential, so should not share with, okay, others, and public key can be shared with someone else, to someone else, like we can share the public key with okay, others to whom we can trust. Okay, so we can, okay, the client can be share its public key with the server. Okay, server should know what is the public key of that particular user. Packets exchange, so already so we know that the data can be sent over a network like in a packet form. Okay, block of ciphers or a, okay, block of bits. So we are not going to share the data like bit by bit. Okay, so we are sharing a data like in a group of bits. Okay, nothing but packets. So packet exchange, so under SSH transport layer protocol, established the first is, it is established by TCP connection. So because we know that it is SSH is implemented above the TCP and IP. So packet exchange is first established by the TCP connection, can then exchange the data. Okay, so now the packet of data can be exchanged. So here identification string exchange. Before we are sending a data, so lot of things are going to be happen. Okay, lot of okay, the some personal details should be shared with the client and server. So it's like a personal informations like, okay, client write key and client public key and client, okay, client private key and client, okay, certificates and all with the server. Server also need to be share some, okay, personal information with the clients, so then only so they can trust each other and the communication channel can be established. So for example, for encryptions, okay, they are like at the sender, what kind of suppose before they are sending the data, so obviously they are not sending a data like the plain text or raw. Okay, raw plain text they are not going to transfer it, so they perform some encryption. To perform some encryptions they are using some algorithm, and the size of the data they need to be sent is too much, they need to be compress it. For compressions they are using some algorithm. So what kind of algorithms they are using for compression and what kind of algorithms they are using for, okay, encryptions, all these details should be shared with the server. Okay, so string exchange, algorithm negotiation is nothing but they're sharing the some information related like algorithms and, okay, some secret keys, private key or public keys, like that. End of key exchange, so service request, so then only if everything is succeeded then the packet will be exchanged by the sender to the server. The server will send these details to the legitimate okay, receiver using specified packet form. Okay, so now the data can be shared by using a specified packet form. So next, us moving on to the next topic. So next is about SSH user authentication protocol. So authentication is nothing but we already know that. So we are authenticating, or we are just verifying uh, the client and server. Okay, so client will be verified by the server, or server will be verified by the client. So it's nothing but the authentication. So here SSH user authentication protocol. So in order to authenticate each other, so we need to follow some set of rules. Is nothing but protocol authenticates client. Here authenticates the client to server. Now the client is going to authenticate to the server, is nothing but server is verifying the client. Okay, the server is verifying by the client. So there are three major steps, or the messages types involved during the authentication protocol. First, SSH message user authentication request. The request will be sent by the user to the server. Okay, let's say for example I am using a Gmail server. Okay, so I need to, I'm using my Gmail. First I need to send a request to the Gmail server. So if I have a genuine user, okay, I'm a genuine user, so it will, I am able to access the Gmail server. So there are two chances. If I am a genuine user, so I have created my profile, I have created, I have provided all my details, like what is my ID and what is my password. Okay, so now after I have created my profile, says I am able to access the Gmail server. So in another situation, if I am not a genuine user, okay, I have my user ID. Someone is trying to access the Gmail server with my ID. He don't know what is my password. So he is trying to access my Gmail profile, okay, by trying with some passing some password, okay, by giving some password. If he has entered genuine password, okay, he is able to access my Gmail profile. If he is not able to provide my genuine password, so he will get failure to access my Gmail profile. The same situation, the first case is what? SSH, the message user authentication, first will send a request for authentication. So suppose if I have entered the valid ID and password, so I'm able to succeed in access the server. If any one of these ID or password is wrong, so I'm not able to authenticate to the Gmail server. So it throw a message saying that your ID and password is not matching. Either your ID is not valid or your password is not valid. So during authentication, the methods that are used here, some public key will be need to be exchanged. Okay, some passwords are need to be exchanged, and host based information should be exchanged. Okay, so this is how we are trying to authenticate each other. Okay, so for authentication, best example is, so we'll receive a message when we are doing some bank transaction through the internet banking. So during internet banking, it will give us message, or it will give us OTP. Okay, if we have entered a valid OTP, we are able to do the transaction successfully. If we are not entered a valid OTP, so we get failure to the transaction that we are trying. Okay, so that is what the authentication, okay, process. Next, moving on to the next topic. So under SSH, before we connect the connection, some set of rules need to be followed. Is nothing but protocol runs on SSH transport layer protocol. So SSH connection control is runs on what? Transport layer protocol. So in OSI layer we have, okay, basically have 7 layers: physical layer, data link layer, so on, okay, till the presentation layer. The SSH is implemented in the transport layer protocol. So that's what assumes secure authentication connection. So SSH, it assumes that need to be established the secure authentication connection used for multiple logical channels. Okay, multiple logical channels. We are not using a single channel, but we are using a multiple logical channels for the data transfer. So under multiple logical channels, SSH communication use separate channels. Okay, either side can open with unique ID and number. Flow control, data flow control. You have 3 stages. First one, before we do the data transfer, first we need a channel. So it's opening a channel. Next, the channel is established, data will be transferred. After data is transferred, we need to close it. So closing a channel. So 4 types of the session. So on which session, for each data transfer there will be a session ID. Okay, so session ID like X1111, forward TCP IP and the direct TCP IP. Okay, so by using all, okay, these parameters, so we are going to establish the connection between the client and server. So about forward TCP IP and direct TCP IP, so we'll discuss later in future. It's a continuation of a previous slide content. SSH connection protocol exchange. Okay, so in order to data exchange between the client and server, first a connection is need to be established. So that we have to, okay, know about, okay, the connection between the client and server. The connection is not simply going to established. So after, okay, knowing each other by client and server, client should know the server and server should know the client. So then only the connection will be established, and it is done by handshake protocol. Handshake protocol will be succeed only so when after the personal information is shared between the client and server. Okay, so now, so let's assume that, so all the information, okay, the personal information is established, is shared between the client and server. Now we need to what? Build a connection between the client and server, or we need to build a channel between the client and server for data communication. So we are in this stage. So now one side we are having a client, another side we have a server. So let's say for example we are chatting in a, okay, we are doing chat in a WhatsApp. So we are sending a message, okay, to the other person. Let's say person A is sending a message to the person B, but first it has to reach what? Server, WhatsApp server. Okay, the server will first identify the user A and user B. User A and user B is what? The client. So now first, so what we are going to discuss here, establish authenticated transport layer connection first. So all the personal information is shared between the client and server. Now it's a time to establish the channel for the communication. So now there is a request from the client to open a channel by sending a message in a SSH secure shell SSH underscore MSG underscore channel need to be open for this client because he is a trusted client. So now the server, once it come to know that this client is authenticated, is verified, now it will send a message or acknowledgement to the client saying that SSH message channel, what is the request is sent by the client. Yes, I have accepted and I am ready to open a channel. There is a confirmation for the channel to be open. This acknowledgement will be shared by server to the client. This is the first step and this is the second step. Now the channel is established. Now the client will be send a message to the server continuously. SSH message channel. Through the channel data will be sent. For each data transfer there is an acknowledgement by the server to the client saying that yes, I have received a data. So like that we can send many data from the client and server, and for each data receive, after each data is received, so there is an acknowledgement by the server until the last data is transferred. Let's assume that this is the last data we are going to send. Data is sent by the client to the server. So the last acknowledgement by the server saying that have received the data. So what you have sent. We send an acknowledgement to the client. Now all the data is sent by the client to the server. Now it's time to close the channel, which is established for the data transfer. Now the request by the client to close the channel, so SSH MSG channel, so I need to close the channel because all the data is already transferred. So now the server is get ready to close the channel. So there is no further data is need to be transferred, so I'm going to close the channel which is established early for the data transfer. So it's all about what? SSH connection protocol. The connection is established and then channel is established and data is transferred. Once the data is transferred, it has to close it. Mainly there are three major steps are involved: open a channel, data is transferred, close the channel. So last topic we need to discuss about under module 1 is port forwarding. So figure 1.12 illustrate SSH transport layer packet exchange. Here we have two different types of block diagram. So one is by using a single, that is a transport control protocol, by using transport control protocol, and the second one is so by using connection via SSH. So about TCP we are implemented SSH tunnel. Since TCP is not so secured, we are adding one more consideration, or we are adding one more security level, that is secure shell SSH tunnel for security purpose. Now so we'll discuss in detail about port forwarding. Figure 1.12 illustrates the basic concept behind port forwarding. We have a client application, we have a client application that is identified by a port number X and a server application identified by a port number Y at some point, This is server, its identification point is Y. Identification number is Y. At some point, the client application invokes the local TCP. Okay, so this is I am talking about without SSH. Okay, at some point, the client application invokes the local TCP entity and requests a connection to the remote server. This is a remote server. Okay, on the port Y, the local TCP entity negotiates a TCP connection with the remote TCP entity, such that the connection links local port X to remote port Y. Okay, to secure this connection, okay, this is not a secure. If we are using only the TCP connection, this is not secure. To secure this connection, SSH is configured. So we'll go for what? SSH configured. See, there is a SSH tunnel. Is configured so that the SSH transport layer protocol establishes a TCP connection between the SSH client and the server entity. Okay, this is a TCP entity, this is SSH entity, this is SSH entity and the TCP entity. Okay, with TCP port number A and B. Now the TCP entity, okay, notation I have changed, E and B. TCP entity for client is A and the server TCP entity is B. And before it was, so if we are using only TCP connection, TCP entity was X and okay, server entity server TCP entity was Y. So only we were using TCP connection. So TCP connection was not so secure. So we are adding what? One more secure channel, that is secure SSH tunnel. So TCP port numbers A and B respectively for client and server. A secure SSH tunnel is established over this TCP. Okay, this SSH tunnel is established over a TCP connection. Traffic from the client at the port X is redirected to the local SSH entity and travel through the tunnel where the remote SSH entity delivers the data to the server application on port Y. Okay, so first the connection is established between the X and Y through the secure shell. So traffic in the other direction, traffic is nothing but okay, the data transfer. Traffic in the other direction is similarly redirected. If the communication from the server to the client, so is okay, exactly the same through Y. Okay, SSH entity from the Y to the X. SSH supports two types of port forwarding. This SSH is going to okay support for two types of port forwarding. They have local forwarding and remote forwarding. Okay, please remember it is going to what support for two types. One is local forwarding, and another one is remote forwarding. Okay, remote forwarding. So we'll discuss in detail about local forwarding and remote forwarding. So forwarding is nothing but the data or traffic is exchanged between the client application to the server application. Traffic is nothing but data. So now, so if you want to discuss about in detail about local forwarding allows the client, okay, to set up a hijacker process This will intercept selected application level traffic and redirect it from the unsecured TCP. Okay. So SSH converts insecure TCP connection. TCP is actually not a secure. So SSH it converts insecure TCP connection into a secure shell. Okay, secure like a shell connection. SSH transport layer protocol establishes a TCP connection between the SSH client and server. So always the connection is between the client and server. Okay. Client traffic redirected to the local first. Okay, if we are using a TCP directly, it is okay directed to the TCP, but when we are using SSH, TCP will be redirected from the SSH, travels via tunnel, then the remote SSH delivers to server. Supports two types of port forwarding, so that is local forwarding, hijackers selected traffic, and remote forwarding, client acts as a server. Okay, this is all. Okay, the discussion under the module 1. Okay, this is it completes the discussion, or it completes all the discussion about the okay module 1 topic. So in summary of the module 1, okay, what we have learnt is need of web security. So why we need a security need to be provided for okay web. So when we are sending a data via internet, so under we have learnt okay several techniques that we can okay adapt to the data when we are sending through the internet. Secure socket layer or transport layer, transport layer security, both are same with some differences. Transport layer security protocols, HTTPS, hypertext transport protocol with SSLR, TLS. It's a hybrid technique. And at the end we had done the discussion about secure shell technique, so that is SSH. Okay, so I hope you have understood all the topics for the module 1. Okay, thank you for watching it.